I was already pretty interested in seeing what they were going to do with the library just because it was the level that pretty unambiguously had the most amount of room to improve. That was the most, because the original was such a blank slate. It's essentially just an endless onslaught of gray hallways that kind of all look the same. They could do basically whatever they wanted. So I was already looking forward to seeing what they did, but now that I've seen that intro cutscene, I'm more excited, honestly. The question is, am I gonna like their changes? Like, is it going to be recognizably a better version of the library, or is it going to be an entirely different room altogether? And more importantly, or most importantly, did they keep the atrium? Because the atrium was the centerpiece of the library, and originally the original plans for the library was that you would keep always rotate. You would always be constantly rotating around that central. I don't even know what to call it. I keep using the word atrium. It's the giant open arena with that houses the index, and you keep seeing it as you pass through the hallways, going higher and higher and higher. There were originally plans to more explicitly have the player wrap around it so you could more clearly tell that you were making progress, whereas in the finished product you kind of can't, because it's mostly you're mostly sequestered in little separate hallways that run entirely far away from that. But yeah, let's see. I am excited.
The index is naturally our first priority. We cannot activate the installation's failsafes without the index. We must make our way to the transit lift on the other side of this level.
Okay, this looks... Holy mackerel. Yeah, this definitely... Excuse me. I was trying to admire the sights, little buggers. This definitely looks library-ish. That's what I was talking about right down there. Okay. So, instead of... I think actually this was the original plan for the library. I'd have to fact check, but I'm pretty sure I remember the developer saying that they originally wanted you to go down to reach the index instead of going up, and you would spiral around the central thing. And that seems to be what they're doing here. Which, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's what I would have expected them to do with the remake of the library, is try to bring those original plans. Because Bungie had way more interesting plans for what they wanted to do with the library. They just didn't have time. It just didn't come to pass, unfortunately. So, it's nice to see that they might actually be capitalizing on those original plans. And this is exciting for me just because... Hello. While these levels have been, in some ways, different from what I've come to expect from playing the same game for basically my whole life, or at least not my whole life, like half my life. This is essentially, from what I can tell, it's gonna feel like it's gonna be an entirely new level, which does excite me greatly. Just something new to grab onto and explore. Oh hey, I don't think we needed this though. I like the idea of the red dots above the enemies. Like, I'm not conceptually against it, because it works well in Infinite, because it can sometimes be annoying if you have to clear out a whole clear out a whole area's worth of enemies, and you clear out what you think you've cleared them all out, but then there's just one guy hiding in a corner somewhere being an asshole, and you can't find where they are. So it works really well to help eliminate some of the tedious scavenger hunting to figure out where's that one annoying guy hiding in a corner somewhere. So when it comes down to like the last couple enemies, and it's clear that the player is having a hard time figuring out exactly where that enemy is, I really appreciate the red dots. But it feels like this game is a little bit excessive with them. I feel like we definitely could have scaled. Oh, hey! Hello, carrier forms. One thing I want to test is if sticking you with a plasma grenade will prevent you from exploding. Unfortunately, I can't test that right now because I don't have any plasma grenades, but I'm going to assume that it is going to work, just because if these feel very much like Halo 3 iterations of the flood forms, so I assume that's how they're gonna work, but I won't know for sure until I actually get my hands on the plasma grenade and try to stick them. That or a needler super combined would also achieve the same effect. Hi, that's a lot of enemies with weapons. That's an achievement. Disarmed. Dismember 100 flood parts. I'm not even trying to go for achievements. They're just popping like confetti. We haven't encountered a shotgun flood yet, which is kind of concerning. Yeah, this is actually just a totally different level. Yeah, I think that is what we're getting at here.
Curious. A failsafe has been tripped on this portal. I must attend to it.
I think because it maintains the same spirit of the library as far as you go into these sequestered hallways and then you... Oh, hey. Hello. I'll be taking that, thank you very much. Oh, hey. Uh-oh, I missed. Don't come back. You stay down. Yeah, Flood ain't messing around in this game. Flood definitely ain't messing... Dude, calm down with the red dots, please, okay? Y'all need to chill with the red dots. But it maintains the same spirit as the original game, in that you go into hallways and then you return to the an exterior atrium visible area. But they just didn't. It seems like they've done a bit more to differentiate, which is to be expected. They differentiated these hallways a lot more.
This portal is blocked. Apologies. We will need to reroute. Follow me. Where did I put that subroutine?
Okay, see, this is familiar. This is a pretty
Do not fret, Reclaimer. I shall return.
classic library setup. You have these little blue pods back here. The two slanted angles you could stand up. Hey guys, how's life? Oh, can you not chase me up here? Oh, are you guys not programmed to follow me up here? Because you were in the original game. I think we may have found another area in which the AI cannot compensate. It can't account for me standing all the way up here, it would seem. Which, if the torture chamber is still in the library, is going to make that a lot easier to deal with. So, usually by this point, usually shotgun ammo is a bit easier to come by in the original library. But it's seemingly like it's going to be a bit of a tougher find here in the remake. So I'm wondering, is it worthwhile to hold on to this thing in the hopes of finding more ammo? Or is it more worthwhile to ditch it for an assault rifle instead? And just hope we find another shotgun later. Because I don't want to have to just rely on the pistol for... Oh dear.
These sentinels will supplement your combat systems, but I suggest you upgrade to at least a Class 12 combat kit. Your current model will just stand for the
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I switch to an assault rifle.
Data archives are being re-indexed for optimal retrieval efficiency.
It is cool though that your melee locks onto the infection forms now. That wasn't the case in the original game. Your melee has a little small lock-on effect for most enemies, but that does not apply to the infection forms, or at least it didn't apply to the infection forms. Now it does, which is pretty neat. Oh, this is a bit further back than I was expecting. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take your assault rifle, because it seems like we're gonna be coming by assault rifle ammo more frequently than we are shotgun ammo, and I need some kind of primary weapon, because in the original game, you could kind of get by with just the pistol for at least a little bit, but obviously the pistol is nowhere near as powerful in the remake as it is in the original, so I have to have some other kind of primary to rely on if I'm not going to be getting shotgun ammo. Although I guess it is kind of a good thing that I'm not going to be getting shotgun ammo quite as frequently, because what that means, the way through which I would acquire shotgun ammo for the most part is through flood forms, and if I am not getting shotgun ammo from them, it means that the flood is not, they're not carrying the shotgun as frequently, which is good. Because shotgun flood can be a bit of a pain. Oh, but we haven't, you know what's going to be a real pain is rocket launcher flood. I'm not looking forward to when we have to deal with them for the first time.
One containment failure expected in 15 seconds. A plasma conduit reached in section 5524 has disrupted power.
Oh, that's kind of cool. They added these little dispersal chamber pod things to the elevator, so you have the player has something to do during the elevator sequence. I just hope it doesn't go on for too long. Also, did the shotgun just fall through the floor? It sure did. I saw a shotgun there a minute ago. I would have very much liked to have that shotgun for myself. Unfortunately, the game decided it would be better served being eaten by the floor. The floor didn't eat breakfast today, so I had to settle for the shotgun that guy had. Yeah, it might sound weird for me to praise a little elevator wave defense sequence, considering how fervently against that very thing I am in Halo 2. But the difference is that in Halo 2, it's like, it's constant. There, you have no room to recover from the, like, they throw way too many wave defense sequences at you throughout the entire game, so it never really stands out as, oh, this is a cool, like, if it was just the elevator fight on the Oracle, that'd be one thing, but that's every other encounter for most, especially for flood levels. It's far too frequent, and it also just takes forever for the waves to spill out, so it feels like it lasts way longer than it should. But that was fine, because the elevator ride was pretty short. Like, honestly, the elevator rides in the original library didn't take that long to do, like, it didn't take that long to get from one floor to the other. And I never even really considered this before, but it is kind of a period where the player has to sit around doing not a whole lot for a bit there. So it made what was already a not too significant amount of waiting time feel even shorter, because you are engaged in fighting enemies. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. That's a cool change, and I do really like what they've done with the library so far. Because I was a little skeptical of them having it be like an entirely new level, because you still want it to believably look like the library, but it does still, like, all the iconography of the layout of the library is here, all these slanted angles and dispersal chambers and the doors. This all looks like the library, but they've laid things out in a way that makes it feel more seamless, it makes it feel more organic, and from what I can tell, it seems like each floor of the library, much like was the case with 343 Guilty Spark, is going to have its own distinct visual identity, which is very much appreciated. Because honestly, I think the main reason why the library is so loathed amongst the Halo community is just that it feels, because there's other levels that, like, there's way worse levels in the library in the Halo series that aren't nearly as maligned, and I think it's just because the aesthetics are more varied than they are in the library. Because we see this with Halo Infinite a lot, is, like, Halo Infinite's levels are kind of really well designed, but because they all blend together visually, they get a worse rap than they deserve. A lot of people value visual distinction above, like, rock solid design, and I know this because people really like like Halo 2's campaign, and that campaign is filled. Halo 2 has a really wide variety of awesome locations you get to explore, but the actual design of the levels themselves is kind of terrible in a lot of areas. So I honestly think if the library was just a bit more visually varied, it wouldn't have the rap that it does. So yeah, I'm happy to see the changes they made so far, and I really like fighting the Flood. The Flood don't seem to be inhibited by the same difficulty balancing ailments that have impacted the Covenant encounters. This feels like a pretty fair, engaging fight so far. Maybe a little too easy, but I think that's just because of the broader underlying issue that is the lack of a health system. Although maybe I shouldn't be talking, because I might be about to die here horribly. Nope, we're good. We chill. We chill. Okay, let's get a needler out to Needler, if you guys don't know, the Needler is a very reliable weapon to use against the infection forms. Infection forms are no joke. Infection forms are, because in the original, I guess that is one way in which this game is a little bit harder than the original, is the infection forms, because in the original game, you kind of never had to really take them seriously. You could just let the infection forms crash against your shield and they would just automatically... Ooh. Hey, buddy!
Sterilization field integrity requires extensive recalibration.
So if you don't know, that is a pure form, specifically tank form, which were found in Halo 3. And I said in my video that it was a really cool touch they were going to be implementing the more advanced forms of the Flood in the remake, but a couple people in the comments pointed out accurately that lore-wise it doesn't really make sense for them to have evolved into the pure forms just yet. And even ignoring that, something else I've come to think about in the passage of time, in the time that's passed since making that video, is I kind of, something I enjoyed about the progression of the Flood in the original trilogy was how it started out with just 3 basic types of enemies: the carrier forms, combat forms, and the infection forms. And then by the end, you have all these other types: the stalker forms, the tank forms, and the range forms. I did kind of appreciate that. So it doesn't necessarily, it kind of hurts that progression when you have pure forms immediately. So I'm less jazzed about the idea of the pure forms being here than I was back in January. But yeah, I've kind of soured on that just a smidge. Anyway, this is still awesome though. This definitely, oh shit, I almost fell. It's definitely a much stronger feeling of, well, I know I've said the word a lot, but it's true, progression going through this level when you can see yourself actively spiraling down towards the index. Because at least it's like when you start out down below, you see, or when you start out down up, when you start out above and you look down, you can see specifically what you're trying to get to. Whereas when you look up, you can't really get a clear idea of what you're chasing after. I think across the board, this is just a, like, clearly the, so far I've yet to see anything apart from the intro cutscene that the original version of this level does better than the remake. This, which I kind of expected this to be the case anyway, but the library feels like it's just gonna be the big winner for Campaign Evolved. Also, I'm realizing I may not be able to test my plasma grenade theory until the next mission, when the Covenant come back into the swing of things, because I don't think we're going to encounter any plasma grenades in this mission. We haven't so far, so it's possible we may not encounter them at all.
As per protocol, the illuminated markers will direct your progress. Follow diligently. Excellent.
This is a whole new room altogether, which works because you have the classic library layouts on top of new layouts, so like mixing old with the new is really the best way to go about doing this, because it keeps it firmly rooted in the design everyone's familiar with, while also creating something, adding more to it to make it more varied. Like if they just straight up replace the library with a completely new layout, I don't think that would have gone over well with people. But keeping the bones of the library and kind of moving things around and adding more to it is a good way to mix the old with the new. I get it, thanks. Thank you, Spark.
I look forward to presenting my full status report once we deal with this outbreak.
Was he just talking about knife fights? I think he was just talking about knife fights for some reason. I wonder how... Oh wait, let me try the Needler Super Combine. I don't know if that worked.
That activity has caused a failure in a drone control subsystem. I must reset the backup. Please continue on. I will rejoin you when I have completed my task.
I think there were too many carrier forms there for me to be able to tell if what I was doing to them was actually working. But this is going by way faster than the original library did. And again, bear in mind, this is all coming from someone who already likes the library. That's not a common consensus in the Halo community. Most people despise the library. I don't. I still enjoy playing the library. So for even me to be saying like, yeah, this is just better in every discernible way than the original, and also it goes by faster, like even though I enjoy the cyclical nature of the library, I sometimes thrive in that type. Ah. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I know the sound of a rocket launcher flood when I hear / see / feel one. And I see they are... What the fuck was that? Did I just get teleported? That was weird. I'm not exactly sure what just happened there. It felt like I just got teleported somewhere else for no reason. Also, I don't know this for sure, but I think, yeah, if that's what I think it is, I think they added a little orange highlighter onto the arm of the combat forms who are wielding rocket launchers, which is, I'd say it's probably a good middle ground, because the big problem with rocket launcher flood in the original game was that there was no way to, unlike literally everything else, there was no telegraph for when the flood were going to fire the rocket launcher, and because rockets could kill you instantly, it's unfair, because everything else in Combat Evolved that could kill you instantly was telegraphed, except for that, which made it stick out like a sore thumb. And I get that there's really no way to telegraph that someone's going to pull the trigger on a weapon without it being extremely contrived.
Did you miss me?
But I think that's a good middle ground of like having the orange glow to indicate that, yeah, this person has a rocket launcher. They can fire it at any given moment. Be aware. This is sick, man. This is such a sick take on the library. I'm loving it. This was the shot in the arm that this campaign needed, because they were really starting to lose me with some of those. Oh, was that a... Oh, right, Sentinel Beam. I mean, I'm not gonna... Well, you know what? Let's try it. Why not? Let's just try the Sentinel Beam. Oh, that feels powerful. Oh, that feels great to use. Oh, that feels so sick. Because the Sentinel Beam always felt kind of weak in a lot of the games. But here, it is powerful. Alright, let's hold on to this for a little while longer. I'm not going to ditch the shotgun, but I'll hold on to the Sentinel Beam for a little... Oh, hey, eat my Sentinel Beam, friends. Oh, hey! I did not expect to see you around that corner. I like that the... Oh my god, hi! Whoa, that's an interesting checkpoint. Spawning me directly into an armada of infection forms. Interesting strategy. Okay. I like that the pure forms aren't, like, everywhere. So maybe, and I'll be upfront about this. I don't actually know the full extent of the Flood lore. Despite me being, like, a super duper Halo nerd, in truth, there's so much lore that I don't know at all. There's too much. I'm far from being an expert on Halo lore. There's so much. There's books I haven't read. There's stuff I haven't watched. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't know about that intimately. So I don't know for sure if there could be a lore justification for why the pure forms are here. But I think it at least makes it better that they're not like literally everywhere. Like in Halo 3, pure forms were kind of just another standard type of enemy you would encounter. But in this, it feels like they're more of mini-bosses, which I think helps a lot. Surely that was enough to kill. Still no? Are we sure? I guess we're sure. I guess we're sure. I'll take a weapon now. Sure. Oh, the Sentinels might have killed him for me, actually. I think the Sentinels got him for me. No complaints to be found there. Now, where did I drop my pistol is the question. Ah, right here.
Your environment.
Yeah? You in the middle of saying something there, Spark? Oh god, it's like the deeper we get into this place, the more floodified it becomes. So at least the infection forms are not stun locked. Oh, is that? Oh my god! Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. Because if that happened in the original game, I would have just died there straight up. I would have died. I would have had no way to know that was coming. But in this game, the orange light gives you like just enough time for your brain to clock that, oh, that's a rocket launcher flood. I need to get the fuck out of here. Because if I can see that light, it probably means it's gonna fire a rocket anytime soon. So I need to be literally anywhere other than where I just was a second ago. I think that's probably the best they can do to balance it out. Oh, hey. I mean, that's kind of what I've been doing the whole time, Spark. Oh, hey, now.
This room once held a complete record of 74 inhabited worlds.
Man, we're almost down there. It's been like 20 minutes and we're already almost at the end of the library. Which, I mean, to be fair, a deathless run of the library on Legendary takes like 30 minutes. But this wasn't a deathless run, right? This is a first-time playthrough kind of figure out what's going on type of experiences. I'm not really going for a speed run or anything like that. Oh, sorry, I should clarify. Obviously, I know the world record speed run for the library is lower than 30 minutes. I mean, like, full path playing the level. Not like, trying to skip through everything and do out-of-bounds glitches and things like that. Yeah, just wanted to clarify that was what I meant when I said that. Yeah, honestly, I think even... Oh, we did find plasma grenades. Cool. Okay, let's test. Can I confirm... I think that did, in fact, stop the carrier form from unleashing more infection forms, which is cool. Because that was a very good quality of life change that the Halo 3 added. You weren't forced to unleash... there was a way you could fight the carrier forms that wouldn't result in you unleashing more infection forms out of nowhere. This might be a death. I think I might have gotten a little bit too careless. Don't know how we pulled through this. Nice. I think even really just the simple change of having everything become more gross and floodified the deeper you go. That I think that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Because fundamentally you are still just running through a bunch of rooms, killing onslaughts of flood. But the pure forms kind of help mix things up a little bit, so that you aren't just fighting the same types of enemies with no types of mechanical variety. And where I was going with that conversation earlier is, I think there's more wiggle room to say that there might be a way for which one or two pure forms may have escaped containment or archival indexing than it is to say that they're just a regular part of the Flood's army, like as normal as a combat form. I mean. So, I think it's ultimately still a good idea for them to, and it doesn't really, because I think if they added range forms and stalker forms, that would be a bit too much. Because then if they do ever remake Halo 3, which I think the plan is that they're gonna remake the whole trilogy, when we get to that point, it does allow them to still maintain the addition of the new flood forms that we found in the original Halo 3. While also adding a bit more nuance to how the Flood behave in this game. So, I'd say it's overall a change for the better. Whether or not it can be narratively justified is another matter entirely. I truly don't know. I have to do a bit more research on that, which is that I would research that to know for sure before I make my video on this game. Which I think at this point I was feeling a bit apathetic about it after Assault on the Control Room, because, like, so much bullshit happened in such a condensed span of time. But these last two levels have done a lot to rejuvenate my passion for this experience. Yeah, we're almost through. We haven't hit the torture chamber yet, so I'm wondering if it's coming, or if it's just not going to be in this version. Because the torture chamber is, as the name implies, pretty brutal. but also might be my favorite encounter of the library, the original library, because of how challenging it was. It always felt really satisfying. I mean, there's ways to cheese it. Like, if you want to be a little coward, you can just hide in the corner and not really have to worry about fighting any enemies at all. But if you wanna play it properly, then it is a brutal thing to overcome, but so satisfying when you do it. I also like this kind of bridge minigame. It's nothing too complex, it's pretty simplistic. You just go around pushing buttons to activate bridges. But it at least encourages some engagement. It gives you something to do instead of just waiting around for Sparks to return while he opens a door or whatever. And I'm gonna hold on to this overshield because I'm still expecting there to be some kind of torture chamber-esque fight. If nothing else, there should be one massive fight right at the end before you reach the index. That I'm definitely expecting. And we are going to be holding on to the overshield for when we reach that point.
Some of this facility is lost on the lesson night. Would you not agree?
Heh. I choose to interpret that as a tongue-in-cheek remark to those those like myself who do find a sense of, maybe not charm, but there's something appealing about the original library. Oh my god! What the hell was that? I actually have no idea what killed me there. It felt like I just got instantly. Oh no! Is this is before the bridges? Oh fuck that! This is a horrible checkpoint. Okay, the bridges thing was cool to do like once. Having to redo it again back to back, not so great. You want to give me a checkpoint this time, game? Also, is there anything to find up here? It appears that there is not. Checkpoint? I'd really like a checkpoint game. Oh, okay, you had an energy sword. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. I just didn't see that. I legit did not see that he had an energy sword. Oh shit! I didn't want to drop that. It's probably not a smart idea to ditch the shotgun for the sword because the sword has such limited ammo. But well, we're gonna be on an elevator, so let me store the shotgun up here. I'll have some fun. I'll have my fun with the sword, and then we'll retrieve my shotgun afterwards. Assuming they are gonna launch more enemies at me.
We must continue. This way, please.
There's nowhere for me to continue, Spark. I gotta wait for the elevator to... Tell me this is the one elevator where they don't throw enemies at you. This is the one elevator where they don't throw enemies at you. Nice. Well, I'll still hold on to this. Oh god. 4th floor. Tools, guns. Oh, so no torture chamber then. Oh, that's kind of disappointing. Because the torture chamber happens on floor 3. So we would have seen it by now. But this definitely feels like the culmination of the level. This is like, well, welcome to hell. This is, if the previous levels we started out with normal Forerunner facility, and then the deeper down we get, we see more and more flood. This is like, welcome to High Charity. This is pretty, this is really cool. Alright, I might regret this choice, but I am gonna stick with the sword just so we can have a bit of fun with it. Oh god, that's so... See, okay. I think this is why I'm more kind to the hyper realistic or aesthetic for this game than I otherwise would have been, is because it's not hyper realistic in the style of something like, I don't know, Lightyear, just because I can't think of a better example right now, where it's just dull and gray and boring and shitty and I hate it. There is still color in this game. There's these bright, overwhelming reds and oranges. There's the unsettling purple hue of the swamp. There is still color to be found here, and that's really neat. And yeah, I might regret the choice to stick with the sword over the shotgun, but I figure we may as well have as much fun with this as we can. I will say I like that you can pick up the sword, because obviously it was kind of unsatisfying as a player to not be able to do that in the original game. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, just maybe it would be better for the balancing if you couldn't pick up the sword. Because like when using the sword in the belly and the beast encounter, for instance, kind of breaks that fight. There's not really a lot of the challenge there. Oh wait, is this the, oh shit. Uh-oh, I think this might be the torture chamber. This might be the torture, okay. I think we found our torture chamber. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they would have moved it to the 4th floor, because it always felt weird that the most climactic, hardest fight of the mission took place on floor 3 instead of floor 4. But okay. If I had known that, I definitely would have held on to the shotgun. Definitely. Okay, well, let's use the overshield now, then. And let's also... I'm gonna test the limits of this game. Yeah, you can't get me up here, can you? Yeah, you can't get me up here. Their AI is not programmed to follow me up here. I still gotta worry about these guys, obviously, but the... Okay, let's... I think we have a plan. I think we have a plan. Use the grenade to dislocate you. Try to get another... Also, my overshield did not last long at all. Power-ups in general feel considerably weaker in this game than they did in the original. Yeah, so this feels... This doesn't feel intentional. I don't think I'm supposed to be able to just hide out here and avoid engagement. You know, to be fair, it's not like this is an instant win strat, because obviously the combat forms, the base combat forms can still jump up here to reach your position, and they have long-range weapons, so you're not like guaranteed, you're not completely safe. But the tank forms are the biggest threat in this area, clearly, and they cannot do shit to you when you're up here. Uh-oh. Dropping down, get the sword ready. Nice. This might be death, this might be death, this might be death, this might be death. Nope. We live to fight another day. Okay, not great, not great, not great, not great, not great. Come on, shields, come on, shields, come on, shields, come on, shields. Let's hope your health is pretty, okay, still no? God, they're really beefy. Which, I mean, I knew they were, oh no, oh, this, oh, I had to pray. I was praying that grenade, if that grenade did not kill him, that would have been me dead. I think it might still be me dead, actually, because this, yeah, okay. Wow. Oh, was that the end of the fight too? That was the end of the fight, wasn't it? Oh man. Well, at least we know what we have to do. We know what we have to do. Not a fan of the fact that they've added in shielded combat forms, which we knew was the case from the first plot that we saw, but uh-oh. Oh no. Okay, holy, wow, alright. Okay, let's try that again. This time without them sandwiching me seconds after the battle starts. Okay, let's begin by sorting you. For as many enemies as we can take out before shit hits the fan, the better. Okay, stick you twice. Get one sword swing in. Maybe get 2 sword swings in. Oh, okay, that's good to know. So it takes 2 plasma grenades and 2 sword swings to take them out. Which doesn't really do much good for us now because we don't have any more plasma grenades to use against this other guy. But still. I also like that the sword does have a lunge to it. Because in some of the later Halo games, the lunge effect on the sword was considerably neutered. But this sword behaves a lot more closely to the way the Halo 2 sword does, where it like really flings you a good distance away. Is that it? Oh, okay. That was a little weird. I just teleported straight to it.
Protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport. Your organic form renders you vulnerable to infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the Flood before we reach the control room and activate the installation. The Flood is spreading. We must hurry.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no room for debate there. That is in every possible way a better version of the library. Because they moved the torture, because that was clearly supposed to be this game's version of the torture chamber, and they moved it from floor 3 to floor 4, which makes sense because obviously you want to have the hardest fight be the last thing you do. They removed the actual last fight, which was kind of a little bit bullshit. A little. I'll say it straddles the line, because in the original game, it would sometimes feel like RNG as to where, like, how the, because what you did in the original game is you would have to rush the index as Flood was swarming all around you, and it created a cool effect as far as you feeling like you were always, like, even as you're reaching the index, you're 1 inch away from death at all times. But it did kind of feel a little unfair with just the sheer amount of Flood. It felt like kind of like the room in Truth and Reconciliation in this game, where there were just a million elites and there was nothing you could do about it. So they still made, they put the hardest fight of the game at the end, but made it much more fair. Although the ability to stand on those ramps does kind of negate a lot of the challenge, because when you're on the ground and you're engaging with the mechanics the way you're supposed to engage with them, the tank forms are fast. They are no joke. They are way more threatening in this game, both in terms of speed and damage output and health, than they were in Halo 3. But, you know, how much does that matter when you can literally just stand on one of the ramps and there's nothing they can do to get you? The elevators are a nice touch as far as giving you things to fight as you went down, and getting to see the levels slowly become more and more floodified until you eventually get down to the bottom floor, which is like hell itself, like the heart of a grave mine, essentially, with how red and orange and horrible and gross it all is. I don't even know that there is an argument to be made that there's anything that the original library does better than that. That flew by, even though it was this, like, even though technically speaking, it was a pretty long level, right? It took 40 minutes to get through that with deaths. That's not that dissimilar from the original game, but it didn't feel that long because each level was different, and because there were different types of encounters, and because all the rooms didn't look the same, and because the tank forms were there to provide a little bit of extra mechanical variety to the gameplay experience. So yeah, I'm very happy with how that played out. I was worried it was going to feel too different, that they were going to pivot too far away from the core identity of the library, but they didn't. They did not pivot away from it. They still maintained the core bones of what made the library what it was, and they just added to it, and they made it more interesting. So far, those 2 levels are the standout of this game. What's going to be really interesting now is seeing what they do with the next 3 levels, because as I've alluded to previously, the second half of Halo is essentially just the first half of Halo, but backwards. We're going to run through 2 Betrayals is Assault to the Control Room backwards, Keys is Truth and Reconciliation. Well, I guess not backwards, but it's another version of Truth and Reconciliation, and then the Maw is like Pillar of Autumn backwards. Well, I get the backwards thing really only applies to Assault to the Control Room and 2 Betrayals, but the other ones, the point is you're still running through previous sections of the game. So I'm wondering how much they're going to change that up, if at all, and I'm wondering how the gameplay will be impacted by throwing the Flood and the Covenant into the same arena. But I'm feeling a lot better about this with these last 2 levels than I was. Like the first 2 levels I was feeling really great about. Truth and Reconciliation was a major disappointment. Silent Cartographer was a little bit better, but still not great. Assault on the Control Room was a travesty. And then these last 2 levels have been right back up there. I'd say even better than the first 2 levels. So this has been such an insane roller coaster ride of an experience so far. I'm kind of, at this point, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens next. Okay, that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time, and I hope to catch you all tomorrow for some more Halo Campaign Evolved. Goodbye.